It's time. Been too long. We need to pull some cards and see what's going on. All right. I hope everybody is doing well. It's almost February. It's starting to be sunny more and more. All good. It's all good. Okay, what messages do we need today? Okay, so there's definitely a focus on moving forward and not looking back. Those are the two major oracle cards for today. The Afterlife you got in reverse and New Dawn upright. I think when we focus on the past, it has a very powerful ability to pull us backwards. And that's not a good thing, especially when it's time for a new beginning, whether that's in a relationship, a family dynamic, a work situation, where you live, where you are physically. It's time for change. And it's time to not focus on what happened in the past, because at this point it's completely complete. I'm just gonna pull a couple more oracle. It's so hard to say that. Oracle cards and see what we get. Yeah. Okay, so this is in relation to releasing toxic relationships, whether that's with family, coworkers, friends, romantic partner. So again, not focusing on the past, releasing all of the toxic bullshit that people bring into your life, or that you allow people to bring into your life, depends on how you see it. And then we got let go of ego, but in reverse. So I'm gonna, I don't have that book. Okay, well, I'm just gonna have to intuitively define that. Letting go of ego. This is saying to not let go of ego. I think sometimes people assume that your ego is just all bad. It's just a negative part of ourselves. It's like the shadow that we don't like people to see. But it's funny because the ego is what everybody sees first and foremost, right? It's out there, it's out front. It's actually meant to protect you. That's why we have an ego. Our ego was created to protect us. Some of us that have been through a lot of traumatic relationships or family trauma, we built that ego up to protect ourselves so that it wouldn't happen again. It's not necessarily just a word that means that you're full of yourself, or that, you know, like you're egotistical. Okay, well, it probably means that you've been traumatized. And that's what you do to keep people at an arm's length. And this is saying to not do that. So continue to do that when it's necessary. Have an ego. The people in history that were the most, what's the word? I guess the most remembered and the most successful, full of ego. All the way full of ego. It doesn't have to be a negative. It's only a negative when it gets in the way of something that is needed for growth or to learn something. But otherwise, it is protection. Your ego is your protection. It's protecting that little kid inside of you that didn't know how to protect themselves. And so now you have an ego. Don't let go of that. Don't let anybody make you feel like that's a bad thing when you use it the way it's meant to be used. And let go of those past toxic relationships. I feel like I feel like this is a message because maybe somebody from the past is coming back. So we're going to see with the Kipper what's going on. It doesn't have to necessarily be somebody coming back. It could be a situation coming back that maybe you're going to have to look at from a different point of view with New Dawn being here. Great fortune. Sudden wealth. And occupation. Interesting. Okay. So we have great fortune, sudden wealth, and occupation. So maybe the reason that we're not being asked to let go of our ego right now is because it benefits us in our occupation. When you allow people to walk all over you, or you are kind to a default at work, I'll tell you right now, especially where I work, it's all men. I don't have the luxury of getting emotional at that time of the month, every month. I don't have the luxury of confiding in the men that I work with in a way that's inappropriate, especially if I'm in a relationship. I don't have the luxury of being able to rely on anyone around me to show up without an ego. Men are ego, not in a bad way, but like if you're supposed to be a leader and a provider and confident in yourself, how are you not going to have an ego? So when I go to work, it's all ego all day, every day. And I feel like this is asking us to show up in that same energy, to match that same fucking energy. When you go to work, know that you're a badass. Know that you bring something to the table, and that's why you work there. Forget about the negative shit that's happened in the past. Forget about those toxic relationships maybe that made you feel like you weren't good enough, or that you weren't a badass, or that you couldn't do certain jobs because that's not what women do or what men do. Fuck all that nonsense. This is a new dawn, and it's going to lead to great fortune and sudden wealth. If you release your toxic ass relationships and you hold on to that ego. All right, let's pull some tarot and see what happens. This is interesting. And the number on the sudden wealth card is 777. So if you've been seeing a lot of sevens, that's a good sign. Also, if you see a lot of numbers that are in sync with each other or repetitive numbers, that's also a good sign. It means that you're aligned and that you're on the right path, literally. There's definitely a new beginning here. Definitely a new beginning. You got the Four of Cups. We got the Page of Swords and Justice. So this talks about you know, reevaluating situations, maybe being disconnected because you're focused on the wrong thing. This man with the Four of Cups is contemplating, looking at the Three of Cups sitting in front of him, and he doesn't see God presenting him with a cup to his side because he's too focused on maybe the past, the toxicity, what he was told he couldn't do or could do. And then the Page of Swords talks about new ideas, a thirst for knowledge, and new ways of communicating. And then Justice is fairness, truth, clarity, equality. I feel like maybe you don't see this coming, but there's going to be an adjustment to probably an occupation situation for you that's going to bring fairness, truth, clarity, and equality. Maybe you've been feeling like shit's been off at work and that you're just not getting what you deserve, or you're putting in all this work and you're not seeing what you expected out of it, or maybe you don't feel respected at work. And you're kind of focused on that, but what you don't see coming is this justice, this great fortune, this sudden wealth, this truth. The Page of Swords speaks about truth. It also speaks about somebody spying on someone else. So maybe you don't see what's going on, or maybe you feel what's going on, but you don't see that someone else sees what's going on, and they're going to bring justice to the situation because they've had it. They've had it with the bullshit. They've had it with the lies, the unfairness, the toxicity. And maybe it's them that's not going to let their ego get trampled on anymore, or allow you to be trampled on anymore. That's a beautiful, beautiful message. All right, let's see what else. I just want to pull some love messages, even though this is primarily either about work or work-life matters. Okay. Vision and unity, both in reverse. So this is definitely something that you don't see coming. I feel like if vision is in reverse, it's right below the Four of Cups, which talks about contemplating but not seeing something that's right behind you, a gift from God, which can come through other people. And then unity in reverse. So you not seeing, I feel like this is saying there's a possibility that you're not seeing that somebody has your back and they're going to come through. And you don't even see it. And this, you know, they're going to start a new dawn. Maybe it'll release toxic relationships in a sense for you, because you finally see somebody coming through for you in a way that they never have before. And so you're able to release past toxic relationships where you were probably made to feel like you weren't enough. Well, I think that's it. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you later.